And we're back with Brentocast episode 43, the one where I dropped the mother-loving hate bomb on YouTube. Okay, so what's been going on? Actually, YouTube is at the front of my mind right now because they've caused me a lot of grief. Ever since, YouTube came around, I sort of used it as a place to post my cute little FX test, and then eventually I started using it as a place to post my home videos, that I wouldn't lose. And back then we were dealing with like really deterioratable tape format that did not last a long time, so it was important to me to get this information out there. Originally I put it on CDs. Of course they don't last, and now nobody even has CD readers typically on a computer, so YouTube was just an extension of that. This is back before monetization of videos was even a thing. So fast forward to today, where I have 4 years worth of home video of Delilah backed up, on YouTube and elsewhere, because I always viewed YouTube as a heavily political platform that definitely was somewhat lopsided against folks like me. Now, mind you, if I were a podcaster or if I had some huge following, I would be likely to get shadow banned by YouTube. What is a shadow ban? A shadow ban is basically where they just hide your content from your followers because they don't want you to do well financially, because they really ultimately would rather have echo chamber type content that's very pro transgender and all this new wave wokeness. I'm none of those things, but none of this is really even relevant, because to even get AdSense money, you have to have 100,000 followers. I have maybe 600 followers, maybe 600. I haven't checked it lately. So it's ridiculous that I'd be having to deal with what I'm having to deal with. But let me just go ahead and tell you how all this has unfolded. So some time ago, I would say particularly when I started performing with Harrison Foreman, we play some cover music. Mostly we're originals, so this doesn't come up that often, but we do play a few songs by the Eagles, in particular the rights holder to the Eagles music. And I've heard people that do matter, that do have a reach. Rick Beato is a great example. Talk about how vicious these people drop the copyright strikes on you. Now, a copyright claim is one thing. A copyright claim basically just says, should you ever reach the following where you're supposed to get AdSense on this song because you don't own the copyright of this song, even though it's you playing this song, it's not the Eagles, even though you don't own the, this is your cover, still the copyright is owned by United Artists or whoever it is. And if you ever reach that threshold to where you would earn money, we're going to take that money. Now, that doesn't bother me so much because I'm not in that YouTube game for money. It's just kind of like a video journal for me. Basically just precious memories kind of a thing. Okay, so back about maybe a month and a half ago, I got a copyright strike instead of a copyright claim. Now, mind you, why would I suddenly get a copyright strike for something that heretofore had been a copyright claim? The answer is simple. They keep tweaking the algorithm so that their bots essentially find more and more and more copyright claims because they want to take the money or deny the money to the legitimate content makers that have these big reaches, right? So in a sense, I'm just caught in the crossfire. And of course, as they tighten that algorithm, more and more things can trip that. Oh, they're actually playing the cover. They're actually playing the Eagles version. I do sound somewhat like Glenn Frey on a live performance, so I'm thinking the bot thinks that I'm the actual Eagles. Perhaps maybe I'm flattering myself, but like if you took a version of him just playing, as far as I know, such a version doesn't exist, but if you took just a version of Glenn playing Tequila Sunrise by himself, acoustically and singing, I sound fairly similar to that. Anyway, so it flagged me as a copyright claim. And there's all these things you can do, go to their copyright school and all that. But in essence, to me, it just looked like, without some sort of really high escalation of it, that I needed to just wait 90 days and not have any more copyright strikes, and I'd be okay. So I thought, all right, I won't upload any more Eagles at all, me playing the Eagles, and I won't upload any more cover songs, me playing any cover songs. Okay, so take it a step beyond that. When I am videoing these videos of Delilah and we're in different places, all kinds of copyrighted music is playing in the background. The Beatles, in particular, is one that comes down pretty quick. I've never had a copyright strike, but the copyright claim comes down pretty quick, meaning I upload it, and by the time it's completely uploaded, boom, I've got an email saying, hey, copyright claim. That's all good and fine. But the thing I did not do was go back through my 1,700 flipping videos on my main channel and make sure that I wasn't playing any cover songs. I did not do that. So then I'm thinking everything's fine, cruising along, trying to get my 90 days behind me so I don't have to worry about a potential having my channel deleted. And whammo, I get another copyright strike for a different rendition of me covering Tequila Sunrise by the Eagles. Okay, so what do? I'm like, now I am at the point where, geez, they're saying one more copy strike within 90 days, we're going to delete your channel. And not we're going to turn your channel off and give you a chance to download your content. We're going to delete your channel. So here's me going, man, I am being bullied for something really I haven't done. And secondly, this doesn't accomplish any of their goals anyway, because I don't earn money on these. I'm not taking anybody's AdSense. They put commercials all over my stuff. They get 100% of it. So there's no reason for that algorithm to target a user like me, but it does. So I immediately went through, deleted every version, and I think there were a total of 4 versions. 2 of them had been copyright claimed of me performing that song, and the other 2 I deleted. So I thought, that's not enough. This is how this could go. These guys could tear down my entire channel. I would lose 1,700 videos, many home videos, many of my weekly vlogs. I would just lose those. And there's no going back. I can't go get those back. Now, a lot of them I have posted elsewhere. I kind of began the idea of backing things up apart from YouTube 2 years ago. 2 years ago, when they were having all this political stuff where basically you couldn't say that the so-called poke, I'm not even going to say it. You know what I'm talking about. The experimental drug, because it wasn't a vaccine. A vaccine has a very clear definition, and that drug that they forced and coerced everyone to take does not meet that definition. So, experimental drug they had everybody take. And now, years later, you got all these people dying in their 50s and their 30s and their 20s for unknown reasons, blood clot related. Again, I try to stay off this political stuff because nobody wants to hear it. Those who know, and it's not like a guy like me on a personal blog is going to spread the word to anybody else. My point being, at that time, I just started thinking, man, Facebook and YouTube, basically anything owned by Google, is not that viable for me. They might just decide to discriminate heavy-handed toward me at any old time, and I shouldn't have all my eggs in one basket. So at that time, I started putting content on Rumble. I recognized right off the bat that, whereas YouTube has never paid me, Rumble has I've already accumulated, like a few dollars on Rumble. If you meet a $50 threshold, I think they send you a check. I'm at $15.83. So anyway, that's more than I ever made on, YouTube in the 20 years or so that I've been on there. But I digress. So I started uploading to Rumble. But now I'm like, you know what? Just halfway doing it is not enough. I systematically must download all 1,700 videos. The one thing I will say is it's very easy to download with YouTube, and the organizational tools are fairly good on there. So I am downloading 1,700 videos. I think I'm at about 1,300 I've downloaded. So I've gotten most of them, and I'm putting them in folders to let me know like where they fell sequentially in YouTube. And I hopefully today will finish downloading all the videos on my main channel. And then I've got about, 12, 14 other channels that have maybe between 5 and 2 or 3 dozen videos each. That shouldn't be a big deal to get those down. But once I have all this stuff down, I'm going to back it up on a local hard drive, and I'm going to look at the content holistically and try to put everything up on Rumble in channels. In other words, here and there on my personal channel, I would have a weekly vlog. Well, I want to create a channel and just have it say weekly vlog, and all those would sequentially go up there. And another thing that because of the way video works and just how much I record on a weekly basis, what I do is I'll record until I have a sense that I've got enough video to make about 6 or 7 minutes edited video, and I'll put that up. That'll be part 1 of the weekly vlog, and I might do up to 4 or 5 different sections to that. Well, now that I'm going to have all those, just for ease of watching, I'm going to combine those that are not on my phone. I'm going to combine those and edit them together so that they can go up as a single weekly vlog. And so on Rumble, that'll be an advantage, having it complete as opposed to having it in 3 or 4 parts. Also, everything I'm doing is I take a screenshot of whatever I'm showing, and this goes back to my very, very old test videos where it's me and Todd in his basement, and shooting on a video C format, which is just absolute garbage. And I am taking a still photo from that, popping it into Midjourney and basing a render off of that, and creating these stylized, cool-looking AI-driven thumbnails, if you will, 16:9 thumbnails for the YouTube video, and then I will put our faces on that using another plugin. So it's kind of cool, each video is sort of getting a nice shine. And at least one case I have experimented yesterday. There's an old skit that I did with Neil Mabry called Wizards Battle or something like that, and we're throwing lightning bolts at each other, really bad looking ones. It was done with the Lamb DV, which was like the predecessor to I don't even know what the program became. I forget the name of it now. But anyway, you make lightsabers and lightning bolts and stuff like that very easily with it. And so we have that old footage example, and I'm going to try the idea of... I did up-res it. It looked awful because video C is very, very low quality. And when you go with something that tries to put the AI on it, it gets a little wonky, which it did. But I tried the idea of exporting it as stills, and I want to see if I can make that really act like an HD version, so I can kind of redefine the crop, if you will, and hopefully it's something I can pull off. I'm for sure going to try it. But anyway, overnight I ran that, so I exported that whole video in upsized frames, which I can pull back in and create a new version of the video, cropped differently, I guess. I don't know, going around the moon there, but to explain that. But the idea is, if it goes really well, then my favorite home videos could actually be upscaled. I want to back up the originals, but the upscaled versions, I feel okay just maybe updating them somehow, like updating the quality of the sound, updating the quality of the image, and potentially recropping the old 4:3 aspect ratio into 16:9 in some cases. And I won't do this a lot, but the better ones I might do that. So anyway, it's kind of kicked off sort of a creative thing, and I'm not so pissed about it, because YouTube, they're just a heart garbage company, as is Google. They really don't care about their users. Everything's got to be, very politically motivated with them, and I'm just not so down with that. And I'm really glad. I hope I don't get that third copyright strike within 90 days, because I'd hate to lose all this stuff, because the problem is I actually have it linked to my website and other places a lot, so those links would become null and void. That said, another thing that I'm doing is I'm going back and I'm actually rebuilding my website in Elementor, and everywhere there is a YouTube video, which is thousands of links, I am making sure that gets replaced with a Rumble video. But I know it sounds like I'm all angry. Actually, this is something that needed to be done for a long time. Rumble is just a better platform. It's not the biggest platform, but again, for me, my usage is as a journaling kind of thing for my family and friends that I send a direct link to see. As far as, catching fire or being viral, that's not something that motivates me one way or the other. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Now, I have acquired more organs, and I'm sort of reconfiguring the upstairs studio, aka Secret Studios. Harrison and Tony and I are in our rehearsals for our Christmas music, which starts with our first show. Well, actually, this Saturday night, November, I believe, 18th, we will be, 17th or 18th, we'll be at Loafers and Legends, and we will do a few of those Christmas shows. And then beyond that, we have Winterfest we're playing December 2nd, and then possibly we'll play one date at Backstreet Mercantile in Gold Hill. That's sort of an outdoor thing, playing on a porch, but we'll try to do that. And then maybe we will play at Albemarle Nutrition for the party, the so-called Christmas party. And then I have one more place, the GHA Home for Adult Autistic Folks, that I'd like to play that show, but we'll see. We will see. But yeah, I think this Friday, actually, so day after tomorrow, I'll be in the studio for what might wind up being our last session of the year, just because schedules are crazy and we're trying to iron out some other kinks. The Ansel Brown project, it's kind of in a mixing phase, but every time that Ansel puts forward a time for us to get together and listen to the first 5 songs mixed, something comes up. I mean, I shouldn't say Ansel. It's, this happens to me all the time too, but he's probably busier than me, and it's hard to get everybody in the same room. But I mean, this is the 3rd year that project's been going on, so I mean, I know, speaking just for me and Harrison, I know we're ready to kind of put a pin in that one, because that was a for gratis project, and really the only thing that's come from that is we've gotten to release one song, which did, I guess, get radio play on at least one night. But beyond that, the rest of it hasn't kind of come across with the fire that I had hoped. I'm really proud of Middle of the Madness, and I'm proud of the rest of it too, don't get me wrong. It's just as far as getting it done and getting it out the door, that hasn't happened. And life is life, man. When you're just a family man working a job, trying to be a dad, a grandfather, all these things to all these people, you can't put your focus on music all the time. And I don't know, it's like, for me, I've never been more active. This has been the 3 most active years, largely thanks to Loafers and Legends and also Harrison Foreman. This has been the 3 most active years of my life on music, and I'd like to carry on, but you just never know. I mean, you never know when all that could end. I think we got a kind of a home gig at Loafers. As long as Loafers is around, that's great. I'd like to get another gig like that, maybe a little more geared toward acoustic, maybe, like acoustic as in acoustic, no amps, particularly if it's for free or just tips. But we did have the great experience of playing so much over at Mount Gilead this year, and that was like, I would call all those shows hybrid. None of them were completely acoustic, and they weren't completely electric, if that makes any sense, meaning we didn't have a traditional format band, except for one time. It was the first time that Lee played with us, and we weren't really well rehearsed. We got through it, but I wasn't super proud of what we pulled off. I mean, I guess a lot of people liked it, and that was nice, but anyway, I'm babbling now. I still haven't had that dream band that's fully rehearsed for like 6 months or 8 months and go and hit that show that just blows up. I don't know what's going on with the Harmanco scene. I don't really know if there is a scene. I mean, I see there's bands there from time to time, but I guess, they don't want me, so that's about all I notice. I'm not super sure that. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I miss Harmancos, the old school Harmancos. I miss it, but it hasn't been the same since COVID, and some other stuff that's gone on over there. So I'm still a fan of what that place can be. Same with Little Tokyo. I mean, I haven't been back to Little Tokyo since prior to COVID, and that's somewhere that if they were to ask me to come play it, I would do it. But I don't know what the vibe is over there. I've only ate over there once or twice since COVID, and it's funny because we've kind of, as a family, we've started eating at the other location because that one never seems to be quite as quick with the food. The whole dining out scene has really changed around here, and we had a couple of places, like we were supposed to play at Rosebriar, and that fell through after we were rescheduled 3 times, and we weren't looking to make much money at that anyway. So at this point, I would like to do it because I love Rosebriar, but at the same time, if it's not like met with open arms, I'm not going to try to talk anybody into it. You know, I feel that way about music in general nowadays. It's like, hey, you know, I've paid my dues. I'm not trying to like punch myself in the face to play at your business and entertain your folks if I'm not wanted, for sure. So it's really weird. There was a place, I'm not going to call them out. There was a restaurant in town that had us, and it's like I went and played there one time, and I really felt like even though they asked us to play, they didn't want us there, and it's just strange, man. It's just really, really strange. And I see guys, you know, beating down the doors of pretty much every restaurant out there, and mostly these one guy in an acoustic guitar kind of deals. And I've often said that I thought Braden did that as good as anybody back when he was doing secular music, which he's not now. But I always thought he did that as good as or better than anybody. And it's almost like if I couldn't do it as good as him, I didn't want to go in the same places, you know. So I don't know. I've always been more oriented toward writing and recording, and I'll tell you what, that is at an all-time high. My writing and recording and my producing other people, I've never been working on the level that I'm working on right now, and I don't want to lose that until I've got this material out, and I feel like there's more to write, certainly. So yeah, I've encountered, you know, since I started producing other folks, I've gotten, you know, at least 2 or 3 clients which turned out to be like undesirable clients, and I've had to kind of embrace that part of the business too, which is, you know, kind of laying things down for folks, and if they don't want to hear it or they don't seem to want to listen to what you're saying, you're like, hey, you know, let me refer you to this other guy. And so I've started doing that. I mean, I you know, it's not you, it's me, I'm too busy kind of a thing. But I did have this one guy here lately that, you know, he was referred to me by somebody else I produced. I'm not going to say whom because that would really out him. But then he waited, you know, like a month to call me, and then he was going to send me a song, and, you know, the week went by. I said, hey, where's the song? Oh, I'm too busy, but you could come out to this show and I'll play it for you. I'm like, bro, for real? You think I'm going to come out on a Tuesday night to watch your nothing show? You don't even have the, you know, drive to record the song. So I already know you're not going to be a good client. You're not going to be somebody that's going to pay me well for my time and be easy to work with. Why would I do that? I mean, you know, so what I did was I just flipped it around on him. I said, you know what? I'm watching my granddaughter this Tuesday night because my daughter's going to school at night, so I have to take care of that. I said, but you know what? We'll be playing at Loafers and Legends Saturday night. If you'd like to come and perform there, you just walk in with yourself, and to boot, I'll make you a nice video of you playing it. You don't even have to bring any gear. You can play my very expensive Gibson J200, my friend. And of course he declined, because his whole point was he's never gonna come do this song. He just wants to try to drag somebody to his little crappy show. And there's people like that. Now he might be a great player, I don't know, you know. I just never heard the guy. Literally never heard the guy, other than just his voice talking some old BS. But it's funny, man. People are you know, that they're okay taking up your time just to entertain themselves, fantasizing about recording or whatever. And you got to be ready to cut that off, to guillotine that mess, you know. But hey, here we are at the end of another podcast. This was Johnny Brento from the road, as you might have noted. Had to drop Delilah off. She's had a little cold this week, so we've kept her out of school, and you know, that's tough because we're having to shuffle her to Stanfield to you know, be with her mom during the day so I can do a little something, because bless her heart, she's on me like white on rice when she's with us, you know. So and that's fine, but it's kind of tough to get your regular week's worth of workout, and I am trying to like master Elementor this week, so I do need those couple hours, whatever they may be, to get my work done, and I'll get them. But anyway, yeah, I thought I would use this 20 minutes or so driving back to fill you guys in. And Nancy is already talking about trying to take another trip to the beach. What I love about North Myrtle is that thanks to our friends, we have wonderful accommodations there. What I don't love about Myrtle is that it's not the mountains. Does that make sense? I'm a mountain boy, and I really want to go to like Lone Rock, places like that, and Banner Elk, but the wife always wants to go to the beach. I don't even really know why we don't do beach stuff other than just spending money. And one thing I do not like about North Myrtle is that if you go out and have a regular meal, it's going to be $100. That's ridiculous. It's not like the food is that amazing. We did have one really good meal, which was over $100. It was at Joe's at the I guess they call it, what is it? Not the Boardwalk, not Barefoot Landing, but the other one that has the big aquarium and all that. And we had this great waitress, Hannah. She was a hoot, and we ate there for my birthday, and it was awesome. Had a steak with shrimp and some crab legs, and it was yum delicious. And actually didn't feel so bad about paying that much for that one, but some of them have really hurt my feelings charging what they charge. Also got a ukulele while I was down there. I should have that on here playing. Need to redo my intro and outro, and that should all be me playing ukulele, but we'll get to it at some point. I think the paradigm for recording for us in the future, after we get past these 2 albums we're on, is going to be very different. I actually think at this point, except for drums, we can record everything else at my place, Secret Studios, and then just transpose that or transmit that over the interwebs. Then do the vocals and the drums in the room. Maybe get the ability to get that beautiful high-level snug record sound a little cheaper and faster, although it's very cheap for us now, so not complaining on that front, but just always looking for a way to do more. Right now the big obstacle is having the time that Harrison's available, that I can be available. Supposed to have a fiddle player coming this week to finish up on one song of the Veals, so we'll see if that happens Thursday. But yeah, that is it. So hope you guys have a fantastic week. Sounds like it's about time to wrap this one up. So y'all be good and check back in on the next one.